Hello everyone, and welcome to today's session on balancing act, return on investment with return on energy, effort, and enthusiasm. A very relevant topic in today's scenario. Each one of us is investing so much energy and effort to grapple with various issues. But are our efforts going in the right direction? What more can we do? To enlighten us on these issues, we have with us international speaker, Ms. Christine Marsh, and distinguished professionals with rich experience. I would like to invite our host, Ms. Anita Chauhan, Chairperson, ISTD Quota Chapter, to formally welcome all the dignitaries present. Anita, over to you.
Thank you, Sujata ma'am. Hello, namaste, namaste and Ram Ram to everyone. On behalf of ISTD Quota Chapter, I am pleased to extend a warm welcome to you. First of all, I would like to welcome Ms. Christine Marsh, an international speaker and a facilitator of change who will be enlightening us on how to get the maximum return on all the energy, effort and enthusiasm that we expend. She is joining us today from England. We are grateful to her for taking out time from her very busy schedule for this webinar. I would also like to welcome all the dignitaries who have spared their valuable time to be a part of this session. Welcome Dr. Udesh Kohli sir, the President Emeritus, Dr. Nataraj Ray, our National President, and Dr. Yogesh Kumar Upadhyay, our past National President. We also have with us luminaries like Dr. Benwet and many more past presidents, which I have not gone through, but we will be definitely recognizing their presence, and we'll be having our director, Dr. Avinash Joshi also. This webinar we are hosting today, this is the third international webinar of ISTD Quota Chapter during this COVID crisis, and we have already successfully conducted our 7 national webinars. So a very warm welcome to you all, as well as all the members of ISTD, not only of India, but of other countries also, those who are not even ISTD members. And it is our privilege, it is a proud privilege to have you all with us today, because we have participants joining us across the globe today, across all the chapters of India, ISTD. So I welcome you all. I would also like to welcome all the guests and participants who are attending this webinar. I'm proud to tell you that during the COVID crisis, ISTD Quota Chapter has already organized successful webinars that I mentioned to you. But today's webinar, next 90 minutes are going to be very enriching for you, and it will be a very treasurable memories. It will give you treasurable memories also. So let me mention that you people are free to raise your questions. You can write your questions into Q&A box and chat box also. We'll be taking care about all the questions after the session. So I welcome you all once again. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Anita. Now I'm pleased to introduce Dr. Nataraj Ray, National President, ISTD. He's a multifaceted personality, a true ISTDian. He's a member of many important committees of ISTD at national and regional level. He also holds positions of responsibility at CII, NHRD, and NIPM. Presently, he is working in US-based MNC Crestmac at Kolkata and is responsible for the entire gamut of operations of the company in India in the fields of HR, legal, IR, admin, etc. A down-to-earth person, he has over 2 decades of experience in handling workforce of all categories. Sir, I'm pleased to invite you for your inaugural remarks. Over to you, Dr. Nataraj Ray.
Thank you, Madam. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and my dear past presidents, President of Emeritus, Chairman and Secretary of the chapters, and other ISTD friends. We welcome all of them in this webinar session being conducted by ISTD Quota Chapter in support of the NHQ, ISTD National Office. So this is a turbulent time. So ISTD Quota Chapter is doing a very wonderful job and got and adapted to new norms of webinars. It has been very active during the lockdown period to continue to core activities of ISTD with 7 national and 3 international webinars. Thank you, Anita ji and Quota Chapter, for this wonderful success of this webinar. In this series today, we have among us a very eminent and eloquent speaker from the UK, Christian Mars. Ma'am, we welcome you on behalf of IST National Office and as a National President for this wonderful session, and we are delighted to that your enrichment speaks will be knowledgeable, and everybody will the IST will be benefited. We welcome her and look forward to very inspiring and fulfilling session for which she is the main speaker. I once again and welcome all the NC members, chapter chairmen, and especially the past presidents and all the chapter secretaries and others for this wonderful session. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for the Quota chapter, entire team of Quota chapter led by Onita ji and others, and also past president who are present there, Udesh Kohli sir, Upadhyay sir, Banoy sir, and other past president and president of Emeritus and senior National Council members for this wonderful session. And we hope everybody will enjoy this session. Thank you very much, and thank you for this attending in this wonderful session. Over to Madam. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ray. I'm pleased to introduce Dr. Udesh Kohli. He is BE, MBA, and PhD Economics. He is presently the chairman of Emeritus Construction Industry, Development Council and Engineering Council of India. He is also senior advisor in the Global Compact Office, United Nations, Secretary General of International Federation of Training and Development Organizations. He is an independent director on the board of several companies. You'll glad to know Dr. Kohli has been the chairman and MD of Power Finance Corporation, advisor Planning Commission, chairman of Scope. Dr. Kohli has been the president of various organizations such as Council of Indian Employers and ISTD, Indian Society for Training and Development, for consecutive 2 years. He has been a member, Board of Governors, IIM Bangalore and Kozhikode. We are indeed fortunate for having such an illustrious figure among us. I feel privileged to invite you for your opening remarks on the theme, sir.
Thank you very much. First of all, my greetings to all those who are participating in this webinar. At the outset, I want to congratulate the Quota chapter for organizing this webinar. We are passing through very difficult, critical phase in all countries, and to organize an international webinar this time is quite a challenging task. In fact, during this situation, Quota chapters organized probably several other national webinars, also international webinars. So, congratulations to you. ISTD this year is also celebrating the Golden Jubilee. ISTD was formed 50 years ago. So this is a very important year for the ISTD. In fact, I remember the day when ISTD was formed because I was one of those who were the founders of the ISTD. And it has grown so much. There's so many chapters, so I must say. I also want to congratulate the ISTD National President who is here, and other past national presidents as well, because even at the national levels, ISTD has been organizing webinar. In fact, very recently, ISTD at the national level had organized, rather International Federation at the international level had organized a webinar on ROE, and where Patty Phillips was the main speaker. So this subject is something which is of interest to everyone. I'm not expert in this subject, and I have looked forward to the experts' views which will be expressed here. But I must say that return on investment is a very, very important concept in training and development, because everyone says that, why we are spending so much on training, why we are investing so much money, what comes out of it, how it is to be measured. So these are all issues which concern everyone and concern the trainers and all those who are involved in this learning profession, because it's not just training, it's learning right now. So I'm sure that the deliberations in today's webinar will be quite informative, will add to the knowledge and learning for all of us. So once again, I compliment the Quota chapter in organizing this and look forward to listening to the experts. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sujata ma'am, unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Unmute yourself.
Yeah. I'll
Thank you, Dr. Udesh Kohli, for your enlightening and inspiring words. As you've said, return on investment is a very important issue, and today's is going to be a learning session. I'm now pleased to introduce Dr. Y.K. Upadhyay, moderator for today's session. Dr. Y.K. Upadhyay, past president of ISTD, holds the distinguished position of president of Federation of International Trainers and Speakers, USA. He is also national chairman of Indo-Global Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Agriculture, Pune, and on the board of various B schools and universities. Dr. Upadhyay is the recipient of various awards such as the Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Excellence Award and the Rashtriya Gaurav Puraskar. He has also been conferred the Lifetime Achievement Award twice. Presently, he is the director of Utkrishta Management Consultants Private Limited, Pune. During his 3 decades of professional experience, he has guided various executives. We also have with us Mr. K.M. Tandon, retired Senior Vice President and Business Head, Fertilizer and Power, and at present advisor at DCM Shriram Limited. I would now like to call upon Mr. K.M. Tandon to introduce Ms. Christine Marsh, our keynote speaker. Mr. Tandon, over to you.
Thank you, Sujata. A very good evening to all panelists and participants. We have the good fortune to have with us eminent expert, Ms. Christine Marsh, who is an international speaker and facilitator of change from Cheltenham, Gloucestershire, England. She believes that knowledge comes from continuous learning, whereas wisdom comes from one's experience. All humans have potential to develop, and she is a firm advocate of a core value, which states that no one's potential should be judged unless he or she has been given a fair opportunity to learn. On a personal level, Christine has led a nomadic life due to her father's various postings while serving in the military. Born in India, educated in Singapore and the UK, she has had a disruptive schooling. However, she owes her grammar school education and subsequent studies at Gloucester Art College to dedicated teachers. Christine's pragmatic approach ensures that the critical core issues are identified and addressed that have a positive or negative impact on the performance of an individual, a team, or the organization itself. To ensure positive progress is made in achieving personal and business goals, she researches, designs, and delivers customized coaching, focus sessions, and workshops. Christine brings in, for our benefit, a wealth of her extensive knowledge and her rich experience. She is a radical thinker with many original ideas, and and as we shall see during her communication, it comes straight from her heart. We will have a benefit to witness the liveliness of her session, which is definitely going to be entertaining as well as hard-hitting at the same time. There will be many takeaways for application into our own environment and life in general. Christine derives her skills from working in senior management roles in operations in new product development, supply chain, before a career change to HR and L&D. She has extensive and current experience working with different business disciplines, both in the public and private sector across many countries and cultures. Her professional associations are also many. She has been past board member and chair of membership committee of ISTD, International Federation of Training and Development Organization, board member of International Society for Performance Improvement, Europe, Middle East and Africa, past member of International Society for Performance Improvement, and is a certified performance technologist. She is a professional member of Professional Speaking Association and an international speaker at events and conferences in places including America, Bahrain, Brazil, Dubai, Egypt, Europe, India, Kuwait, Macedonia, Malaysia, Spain, and South Africa, and the list goes on. I thank Ms. Christine for having taken out time to be with us and to share her experiences and her learnings. A warm welcome to her. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Tandon, for introducing our keynote speaker to all our participants. Now I invite Dr. Y.K. Upadhyay to take over the session to moderate it further.
Thank you, Sujata ma'am, for wonderful introduction. Thank you, Tandon sir, for setting the context. Very good morning to people joining from West. Good afternoon to the people of Europe, and good evening to people of this part of world. Namaskar. Let me congratulate Miss Anita and her team for carving out wonderful feasts of knowledge. She has been giving us so many colors of feast. Today's topic, very apt topic, as said by Mr. Tandon. See, any activity mainly has two inputs. One is capital, another is labor. And we want return on all. But the focus of the capitalist or entrepreneur is on increasing the return on his investment. That is the maximization of ROI. And we shall not forget the well-being of the human resource, which is helping in maximizing this ROI. And this is the human resource, the people employed in the industry, they can only produce desired results for the investors. If we take a close look, we find return on investment at one hand and well-being of people employed there on the other hand. See, it is not there. We can enhance the ROI by exploiting people. The research has proved something wrong. Very recently, because we are passing through a pandemic, a leading auto manufacturer who has plant in Maharashtra, I will not name it, is in news. If I name, there's no problem. They have criticized the government for the lockdown. And when the lockdown was obvious reason, maybe their political affiliation or maybe economic hardship. But when the lockdown was open, they have started their plant, and after a few weeks, 200 plus employees got infected with coronavirus. And they have to stop operations there. Now, all this can cause loss of energy and enthusiasm on the part of, plus lot of stress to the people. There has been many studies that slight increase, slight enhancement in well-being of people has led to a significant improvement in productivity. And I will not discuss well-being because we have an expert on that. Having balance between these two is the optimum situation where investors have maximum ROI and people have maximum ROE. And see, this thing is there, we should, how we can do in industry and how to practice this. See, we can record what investment we are making on the well-being of people, taking ROE, and what are the enhancement in ROI. We can have what are the inventions, what are the interventions which are producing desired results, and maintain a correlation and also publish the data. So other industries also can. It is not for industry. If you look what I am investing my efforts, I want even return on that. If I achieve this, I must share with others so that others are benefited. So the thing is, yeah, we should document it and see the impact on the performance of organization, and then report it so that others can use it. And today, since we have an international speaker, well-known figure, Ms. Christine Mars, I will first give chance to them. If time permits, we may again come back and take your question. My request to audience is, if you are writing a question in a chat box, write Q before question so that it is easy for identification. So I am presenting you, ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Christine Mars, an expert on the subject. Thank you.
Hello, and may I thank everybody for sharing their background and adding credibility to what we're doing. Namaste to you all, and I hope you are ready for a fast-moving session. Please take notes, because if this was a script, I would just send you a DVD. You don't need to listen to me. So this is live. I will respond to my own experiences as we go. If you want to take notes to help you, please do, because not everything is coming to you on a slideshow. So let's get going. And the first thing I would like to say is how really this has come from my own personal experience, not from education. I was fortunate enough to move into the commercial world and learnt the hard way, because I had bright ideas on new product development. And you know, not everybody wants to listen to you. Please, those of you who are ahead of the game, you are often in a majority of one. You don't have a fan club, because you are shaking up as a disruptive factor things that are already established, and that is not comfortable. So with the bruises and the battle scars of working on that, we actually went from 15 million to 24 million pound turnover on the particular range that I was dealing with. However, the joined up thinking became very obvious to me, and the specialization and the functional silos is causing mayhem, because everything you do has an impact, and we often do not think of that. I will be giving you examples as we go through of live situations that I've dealt with. So any questions that you have in addition to those stories, please share with me. So moving then to my understanding of ROI. I found it very difficult with education when we were split at an early age into what was science or art. I can't separate the two. And I'm very grateful for my early childhood in India, because you have not buried your spirituality. It's an integrated part of your life. Whereas unfortunately in the West, we seem to have severed it, and it's coming back together now. Really has been the wake-up call, I think, for a lot of countries, because the people are in dire straits. And obviously all of us have been impacted from an income point of view. So return on investment becomes very important. The challenge is with that, it's quantitative. And we like tick boxes, and we like figures. Now, anyone who deals with figures knows that you can corrupt data, wherever you choose to force it. Is that too hard? I hope that is digestible, but really it's trusting the data. Does it give a comprehensive view, or is it selective to support the point I'm wanting to make? We are having major problem here in the UK, because trying to get true statistics on our test situation, we are getting such distortion on data that the general public is genuinely confused as to what they should believe. And there's a lot of false news out there. I can only share you true stories of what I've done. Working with engineers, I have a challenge. Certainly IT people, left brain if you want to think of it like that. The problem is, can you please stop and think, because you have done good analysis based on sound data. However, that then gets you to the stage where you know you're right. And it's very hard to accept that perhaps there is another point of view, or that you need to change, that you are not reaching who you need to reach by just regurgitating the known. What I found quite interesting, I was working with somebody within a large group within the financial world, and I asked them what return ROI was. And of course, return on investment is monetary based, whatever currency you're using. And they felt very comfortable with that, number crunching. So I asked them, what did they think ROE stood for? And I was a little bit shocked when they said return on equity. Have they shifted? No, they're just staying where they were. It's numbers, it's money. So ROE really was having to get them to open up that we are now into the qualitative world of feelings and people. And our feelings have taken a battering. I don't know about COVID-19, but I would like you to think of my interpretation now is co-void, V-O-I-D, because we have been plunged to the end of this precipice and there is a void and we don't know where the bottom is. I defy any of you to have stayed on a high. Motivation is not a constant state. We have highs and we have had deep lows of dark places, not certain how we are going to provide for our families. Do we have jobs? Our world has been in a state of turmoil, and that has caused great distress to people. Now, stress we can manage because that's energy. Distress is when you feel out of control. And that is really a health factor that a lot of us are going to pick up later, which I am genuinely concerned about. Today I'm on a high, so you're lucky. So what we're going to be looking at is this return on energy, enthusiasm, effort. And they say that one of the greatest causes of frustration is unfulfilled expectations. And we have got a lot of unfulfilled expectations because we do not know what is in that void and what the future will hold. So change is really important. The speed of change is very, very frightening to me personally, because I'm now thrown into the world of technology. And to use Zoom is a whole new experience for me. I used to have a backup team that did that for me. I didn't need to learn. So a lot of us are having to look at our portfolio of skills and actually think what was going to take us forward. Einstein was very harsh and quite scary when he said that if your internal systems do not respond to the speed of change externally, you are dead. Now that's pretty harsh, but there's a lot of companies going out of business, so perhaps it's true. I would like to read you a softened version from a very respected colleague, if I may. And this is Rohit Talwar, who is a global futurist. And what he says, the world around you is learning faster, changing faster, and evolving faster than you. When you are moving backwards and not forwards, learning cannot take place to take you into the future. So I think this is, as I say, quite a wake-up call for us when the transfer of knowledge is so important. And unfortunately, we are losing a lot of our skills base because the elderly are now going on the scrap heap. And all that knowledge and experience. In India, you have a great reference for age. I'm afraid in the UK, we have something called a sell-by date. And the minute you are asked how old you are, you know you're in trouble if you don't fit within the parameters. I'm not going to tell you my age, you'll have to guess that. But certainly it's allowed a lot of experience to accumulate. I hope that makes sense, because this balancing act now is so important with the quantitative and the qualitative measures. Now, within HR, we have had qualitative measures. They're called appraisals. I hated them. I really struggled with preparation because my feelings of how that person was performing could be very different to how the person perceived how they were performing. For example, we did a 360 degree. Out of my team of 20, 17 found my style invigorating, fast moving, not a problem. And I was very hurt when 3 of them told me I was intimidating. Do you know what my response was? What do you mean intimidating? Because I needed to know. So we are talking of differences. I have no control when I'm broadcasting how you are interpreting my message. It goes through your internal system, rejects, accepts, considers, and I really, really want to provoke you to think, and as part of your question and answer time, take advantage of who's also here on the panel, because really, as I say, we have a wealth of experience here on this particular webinar. What I did was when we were sending people off for training in the operational side, I became really disillusioned because they were coming back with ideas, one, I didn't agree with, two, I hadn't been on the training anyway, and three, it was going to disrupt the way I work. So if you are not looking as whether your training is fit for purpose in the environment that you are sending people back into, you're going to have a challenge. And it's this linkage really of exploring and understanding and getting your network working of what is needed to take us into the future. The other abbreviations that frighten me are AI, artificial intelligence, supposed to be an aid to us. Google are turning it into the port of call. And every time you talk, somebody would be checking out with whether what you're saying is factual. They have this huge wealth of knowledge out there. So really what we offer has got to be something extra. We're looking at robotics. I'm having companies now, like even collecting the harvest here in the UK. Robotics has got to happen because we cannot get the cheap labor really to keep that going. So artificial intelligence, robotics, the scary bit for me is it's predicted by some people by 2024, we will have technological singularity. Now, this is where they become cleverer than we are, and the human becomes redundant. So really, we have got to get our act together. So this balancing act, I think the timing is very, very important for us all. What I found was that I wanted to change career, because what is the point of criticizing something and blaming something if you are not prepared to do something about it? And I think we're very much in a blame culture of shifting this. And we can't do that. We have to expect personal responsibility. I love the word responsibility because if you break it down, it is the ability to respond. And if we're not committing to equipping our people with that ability to respond to the environment, be creative, be innovative, but keep them trapped into preset systems, then we have a challenge. So what I'm doing when I'm going into clients, I have to balance and know their systems, look where the problems are, and is it a system that needs to be changed? Or is it genuine training need that we need to give the skills to move people forward? So having beaten my drum and stirred things up, I found that I could not change career. I was told that I was too much of trouble, basically. So I resigned, I went away, and a lot of the work I'd been doing began to fall apart. I'm very fortunate that they took me back, but I would not go back unless I had that career change. So to keep me quiet, you know what they did? I'd had 2 prototype schemes of qualifications in specific areas, specialist areas. They gave me 4,000 staff's names to do talent spotting. That did not daunt me because you have to break everything down into digestible chunks. Look at your systems. We had the location, we had the names, we had a payroll. So why not divide a system that was a 5-part? And I knew the first 2 were mandatory, the 3rd was talent spotting, the 4th moved you to supervisory, and the 5th would take you on to management. I could go anywhere in the UK and nobody could tell me what they were doing because I knew what they were doing, or everything was channeled back through us. So moving on to the training side of it and development, I had not expected to go into HR. That was never in my career dreams. But there was a hostile takeover bid, and because of my knowledge, I entered HR. And again, what I find, we have become a policing mechanism. We have systems, we have things that we have to monitor. It's the tick box of following procedures. Going and have a private chat with somebody now doesn't happen. I just want to talk to somebody, but the minute I do, it is recorded and it escalates. So I think we've got to think about, where do we have these safe spaces where people can come and actually talk without feeling that kind of threat over them. So where now then? We're looking at the challenge of quantitative and qualitative meanings. And this is where it's how we feel and what we do. So what I'd like to do is just share with you the challenge I had with one client, because they had not wanted me to go in. It was an engineering, manufacturing organization, highly successful. What did they need with all this soft stuff? Now, they were getting promotions where emotional intelligence was not on the list. They were being promoted through their expertise, their engineering expertise. And the funniest instant I had was somebody promoted actually turned their desk so they faced into a corner so they would not be disrupted. They hadn't got the hang that they were now going to have to manage and motivate people, and they were going to be different. So in order to create an opening, I actually used an illusion, and I hope you can see this. So if you can't, you're going to have to flag it up. But what I'm showing you here is one card. I don't know if you can see that.
Yes.
You can? Thank you very much. Now that is me going in, and I have been selected after 2 years of really going through every test to impart my knowledge. So my card is bigger than the one of the participants. Can you see this other card looks smaller? Now, forget your logical brain. I know you're going to tell me that they're the same. Of course we know they're the same. We should all be working to a common goal within an organization, but functional silos and areas like that, you are being judged on your outcome, and that's really all you're interested in. So I had to get them to hold these cards and forget the logic and look at what they saw and what they felt. So what happens now is, can you see the card now on the left is larger than the card on the right? Can you see that, please?
Yes.
Take your logical mind out of this. So what is happening? The brain is giving weighting to the length of the curve. Engineers, eventually, they know it, but it doesn't stop you seeing things differently. For me, my biggest challenge and what we're doing now with these webinars is to give equal weighting to different points of view. You only get this if you honor that there is a different point of view by putting either the two short sides together, or you can do the two long sides together. I will not work with a client unless we start with a common goal. We know they're the same. So why aren't we actually all pulling in the same direction? Party trick's over now. So that really was my way of engaging, getting people to think about how they listen. The encouraging thing, wherever I go and I'm talking to humans, I like to go to places where I don't speak the language. Because they say one of the problems with words, and I think there's a very famous quote saying that it's an illusion that we have communicated. The fact we broadcast does not mean that our message has been received and understood. So you only get that by actually checking back with people of what did they hear, what did they gain, what questions do they have, rather than being talked at, you engage with. And that really is a whole shift sometimes in culture and leadership. And believe it or not, there are participants who are highly uncomfortable because they are used to being lectured by experts. So I was working in Spain and they just brought in a whole new appraisal system which impacted on how much people were getting paid. And the director had come specially for that meeting. And he spoke to me after and he was angry and he said, "Why does nobody ask me questions, Christine?" And I said, "It's because who you are." He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, if you're going to say any questions, who is the idiot that's going to put their hand up and disrupt what you've just said? They won't do it. Could you just change your wording? You might like to make a note of this because it's helped me. You ask things like, is there anything you would like me to clarify?" That's not threatening, it's giving recognition to the wisdom that you have just been given. Is there anything you would like me to expand on? Now, by doing that, they are able to go back to the people. I'm still there, please. I see, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Christine.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm very nervous of getting lost on Zoom.
No, you are on track, don't worry.
Okay on that. So really this exchange of energy, enthusiasm and effort has to come from those of us who teach and impart knowledge from our learners who want to extract that from us. And that can be a huge cultural shift on occasion. How am I doing for time? I think that must be about 20 minutes worth. I think that's fair. There's a problem. Shall I keep going?
Yes, you keep going. Keep going. You have time.
Okay. Right. What I would like to give you then is a very simple formula. Please remember we ooze abbreviations and formulas, and across disciplines they sometimes are misinterpreted and don't have the same meaning. Certainly we had a problem when they were bringing in a thing called SAP. You may be familiar with the IT system. It's very rigid. And we were working with managers who'd been able to go in and alter and do stuff. So it was a huge sort of cultural shift on that level there. And what we were looking at then is how did they feel about this change? Because they were going to lose some freedom. And this is the formula that we just used. It is purely qualitative, it's subjective, it's in the moment. But if you'd like to think about it and write this down, the first letter is M. So the first ingredient is M. And you multiply that by S. And that will equal P. So the simple formula is M times S equals P. And that simply is, where am I today in my motivation? Remember I said it's not a constant state. I may have had a bad day, good day. I might be in the void. I might be on a high because things are working in a way that I had not expected, new experiences, excitement. So can you just think about your motivation level today in the environment that you're in out of 10? I don't need you to share this, but it's just a marker. Now, for example, I had a very experienced person who gave his motivation level as 2. Now, he's supposed to be a leader. When we moved over to the S, which equals skills, he gave himself 8. He admitted he still had things to learn, but he was at the top of his curve. If you then multiply 2 times 8, it equals 16% of his potential performance. Now, again, this is subjective. I get, I call them they are full of enthusiasm. Let me loose, let me off the chain, I can do it. Their motivation can be off the Richter scale, but let's give them full marks of 10. But their skill is maybe 30. Is 3, it equals 30. Can I delegate? Can I trust? Am I prepared to take the risk? And learning, I defy any of you to say that you have not made a fall along your life's journey as a learning lesson. Now we took that, and what we did was to say that as a group, they had an overall mark of 45% within that team, within that organization area. Look at the growth. Could I do that as some panacea, or did we need to talk to the individual? And what we did, we looked at the people with high skills, and they were bored with basic training. They wanted to be stretched, and they weren't being stretched. So we did some advanced training for them, and then we looked at the lower score, and we started from the basics building blocks and moved up. Do you know what happened? All the people who had put themselves at 8, 9, and 10 wanted to come to my basic one. They wanted to see what the process was. Now I had to manage that because my aim was to help people to grow, not to have somebody take that space to show how clever they were. And what we did was to have an agreement that if they had something that they wanted to share outside the brief of our meeting, they could have their own webinar, they could have their own session. But what I couldn't afford to do is to forfeit that knowledge. So they were invited if they felt they could add value to the subject we were covering. And it was really good because people did things I learned by having that sharing. So it's not sort of rigid, it's this flexibility, it's the fluidity that is really quite hard going. What happened there was that their sales increased. What I hadn't realized is they were about to put that company up for sale. So they had wanted to increase their data, their statistics, their skills level to make them a return on somebody's investment to buy them out. So often there's an undertone of what we're doing and why we're doing, which I used to find quite uncomfortable. So let's then go to the degrees of change. A lot of you will have many, many different models. I mean, go onto Google and you find them, but your own personal ones. This is the one that I've used successfully since I started my own business in 1990. Objectives. Went forth with no clients, just this blind belief that there were things that I could help with and things I could do. And here I am, what, in 2019? No, 2020, it's COVID, 20, oh, void as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so let's look then at, where are we going next? The degrees of change. I had to look at what existed, and we took 100% just as a marker. And I got the person who was in charge, the director, the senior level, against an individual or a team, and said, what is it that you value, that you do not want to forfeit in this void? Write in bullet points what are those key points are. What are our foundations? What are our rock? What are the things that we really value that we're going to fight to keep? However, you are forfeiting chance if you do not talk to people doing the job, because while you're not there, they have found a shorter way of doing something. And by doing it differently, you will get a different, you're not changing it radically, you are just fine tuning. For example, if you were looking at your sales record on a Monday and all your data didn't come in till Monday afternoon, it was out of date. So postpone your meeting till Tuesday morning. Now, that's not rocket science, but it was a huge shift in people when they produced and actually felt that it would impact on what they could do for the following week on that level there. So the fine-tuning are ideas. Now, I used to keep a black book wherever I went with organizations, and I encouraged them to do that because some of those fine-tuning ideas were in advance of where we were and they were dismissed. Now, by capturing them, people, if they see you write it down and you revisit that list on a monthly or quarterly basis, whatever suits you, you will find things have changed. And what may have been totally irrational, for me, it was home deliveries. I was shouted down and booted out of the meeting for such a stupid idea. What do we rely on now? Home deliveries. The timing was wrong, not the idea. So your fine-tuning list gives you a record, but it also gives you credibility as a manager that you are listening, or as a lecturer, whoever you are, of how you could improve it. You already had some ideas of how we could improve the webinar. So, you know, we are encouraging people to do this fine-tuning against what exists. The exciting bit is what percentage is working out of your 100, what percentage should you fine-tune, but we've still got a gap because we are now looking at the third box, which is stop. And the third box in stop, I went to One Healthcare and they had probably something like about 60% in stop. In other words, stop wasting my time with irrelevant data recording that you never look at. Stop this, stop that, stop the other. And it was eventing, but again, a lot of them had stop getting dragged into conversations of no value. Stop attending webinars that don't give me any value. Ditch some of my Facebook friends, my LinkedIn friends, and come to the core of people who are same similar, but give you that edge of difference that provoke you to look at that other card. So the percentage of stop will vary dramatically. And then where I come into my zone of total enjoyment, happiness, and fulfillment, return on my energy, my effort, and my enthusiasm is the start box. This is uncharted territory. This is radical change. What are we going to shake up and shake down and look at what we should be starting doing? Like me doing Zoom is, I say, an absolute classic environment. Now, what you'll find is interesting, if you as a senior person, and I had this with somebody who had a dispute with a senior member of staff, there was 0 in continue, 0 in do differently, 70% in stop wasting time, and 3% in get on with what you're doing. When I did the exercise with a person under fire, he thought he was doing a brilliant job. He could not see any problems at all in his performance, but he had not followed the brief he'd been given to go out and bring in new systems. He had a budget for recruitment, but he didn't because he could do it quicker and faster himself. So we have huge shifts in people's territorial staking. And that really does conjure up a lot of people getting promoted because they don't cause a hassle. And we're not looking for the radical troublemaker sometimes just to come in to think about what we're doing. So that is an exercise. We did it across a whole team. I've just done it very recently with an organization. And what they did it first of all as a stop, start, change, etc., in their own team, in their own functional silo. And then we did it to look at the organization. And we got the director to come in and take feedback. He was shocked with some of the stop things because he thought they enjoyed it or it was value. I have never seen such a vibrant discussion in an hour. People were staying after they should have gone home because they felt they were getting something of value. So I think what we're looking at then is how do we share this knowledge, the speed of the change that we're going through, and this balancing act between quantitative measures and qualitative measures. Because appraisals, as I say, a lot of it is surveys, it's people's personal opinions, and it took me 3 months to prepare and 3 months to recover after them. It was very, very draining. And what we did with one organization, we changed to the degrees of change and we ditched appraisals. And they did it for somebody on a monthly, weekly, yearly. It was customized to where people were, and people started asking for these sessions because they wanted an update. They wanted to know how they were getting on. So I'm still trying to learn where I should look on this screen. So if I've been looking up to the great beyond there, I'm seeking help in conveying my message and trust that it has been of value to you. I am fascinated to see what has been provoked. by the questions that you raise. And I think probably now it would be time to move through to that. How do you feel?
Rather, Gurvinder, we have the slides to play now.
Okay.
You're going to show them for me, are you?
Yeah. Let your slides play once, then we'll take questions also.
Okay.
So that you can sum up accordingly.
Okay, so I go on to slideshow.
Yes.
Right?
Go to slide share.
You don't need to do so. We are sharing.
Okay, I leave it in your capable hands.
Yeah.
So remember this philosophy.
Slideshow.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm getting an echo, but as long as it's okay for you.
The play.
Seek to create allies, not opponents. We are having.
Anita, go to slideshow.
Yeah.
I have to go to slideshow.
No, you do not have to go. We are doing so. We are doing so.
I keep my hands still.
We'll play.
I'm impatient. Okay.
Okay.
Are we there?
So the session continues with Christine Marsh's philosophy now.
Yes.
She's going to she's going to sum up her views.
So everybody.
Still we all are set to listen to you for next 1 hour.
So what we're looking at, please, my message is co-void is cooperation in this void. I cannot do it alone. I could not have done this Zoom session without the support. We cannot self-isolate in our functional silos because we need to look at the impact. It is like flying in an aeroplane high and the clouds, you cannot see what is below. I will talk with the key director and I will talk to the operator. I hate the words, I am only A. There's no such thing. Everybody is one. So please, this is just a play that I cannot be superior. I have to be sharing, and a little bit of humbleness is something that we have to think about. So that's my message. Think about, seek to create allies across different organizations. We have a wonderful program called Repair Shop where people bring their treasures to be renovated. You have somebody working in leather, you have somebody working in metal, you have somebody working in wood, you have somebody working restoring paintings, and they cross-fertilize. They say, are you busy? Can you help me? I have had to learn to reach out for help. Okay, so are we now moving to the next slide? Was that it?
Yeah, next slide.
Are you showing it for me?
Next slide.
Can you do that?
Next slide दिखाओ भाई.
Have you got it?
Next slide.
Second slide.
Gurvinder, click enable editing, then you will have slideshow, and then you.
सर मैंने क्लिक कर दिया है तो अभी next slide आ रहा है speed of change.
Then you can do from there by cursor.
I can.
Yes,
Yeah,
you can.
Okay, Gurvinder, you can stop.
You can do it. Christine, you do it.
Fine.
Yes.
Where I've lost slideshow. See, I'm too quick on the button. Okay. Where are we? I have to, where is the slideshow, please?
So at the bottom, there's an option called share screen. If you click on that.
The screen, it'll be sitting there.
There's one green arrow. You can click that.
So where is the slideshow?
It would be either at the bottom of the screen or at the top of the screen. There'll be a green rectangle with an arrow in it. And you have to just share a screen your screen will be seen by us then.
That's it. No. You see when I need help?
Yeah.
गुरविंदर से बोलो ना next वाला.
Gurvinder, otherwise आप मेरे Gurvinder, can you mail me? I will.
Sir, I can share, but I think she's sharing a screen.
Okay. Now you can share, Miss Christy.
No, I am not doing a good job on this one. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Okay.
So at the bottom of the screen.
No, she has shared a screen. No, screen is shared. Screen is shared, but on her desktop.
Let's wait, sir. Please, let her do it.
I'm not doing anything at the moment apart from panicking. Right.
Don't get
Christine, Christine, do you have your presentation on your screen right now?
No, nothing. I've just got Zoom, so I don't know what I've
Start it. Start. Go to your PPT.
Go to your.
It says I'm screen.
Yes.
No. Okay.
Govinda, you can disable everyone's and then you can do it.
It just says I'm screen sharing. So
Yes.
do I stop share now or because I can't see the PowerPoint?
We can have general talk for 2 minutes. We'll get it.
Stop sharing. Christine, you can stop sharing.
Okay.
हमारा slide आएगा ना?
Okay, आपका आ जाएगा सर. Don't worry.
तू चला अपने हिसाब से, ठीक है?
अरे हमारी फोटो आ रही है क्या?
No.
हमारी फोटो नहीं आ रही.
I tell you what has happened, and it's a whole new skill set for me, and it's called patience. And I think this is the chastening thing that there isn't always a fast speed to get to where we want to go. And you have to rely on support when what you're doing proves that you don't have the proper skill set. So let's see where we're up to. Okay. My patience level is up to 20.
Yes.
Okay. I can tell you what's on the slides if rather than.
So you continue. We are trying actually. You continue talking.
You want another story while you're doing that?
Yeah.
Okay, right. I was called in to do supervisory training. Screen sharing, we're back. Now, how do I get to the second slide? Here comes the poor person trying to absorb. Okay, this is, as I say, Dr. Banwit, back in November 2011. If you are giving pearls of wisdom, they stay with you. That is the continue. And he really had, with an engineering background, I felt I was talking to somebody who shared the same frustrations that I was sharing. Because his cross-functional activities, interdisciplinary in character, adopting an integrated and holistic approach. A lot of the organizations that I've been into, the one who wanted supervisory training, I insisted on going onto the premises. And what I found was that they had got a return on investment from somebody who basically had got cheaper filters. Now, this is dealing with graphite and it's dealing with producing the black goo that goes around window screens. I don't go technical. If it's black goo to me, that's what I talk about. However, instead of lasting maybe 6 months, it was lasting 3 weeks. So these poor people on the production floor were covered. I mean, it was ingrained in their skin. By me going there, even in the short hour and a half I was with them, I had to be scrubbed off in my arms and my legs because it had got into the skin. That is not sense. It's not sense for somebody who is a specialist in marketing to go in and do a review on all their documentation and delete something without consultation with the user. That was the person who was going to fill in a membership form and the poor admin people who were going to actually activate the membership. Do you know what they'd done? They had just taken 3 letters off the bottom of page 1. And they were simply, oh, we're moving on now. Okay. What they had done was zooming through all of these now. Okay. What they had done was cause an increase of 25% because forms were being sent in not completed on page 2. So the word or the letter PTO was meaningless. If they had put please turn over and it was on the wrong language, still would not mean anything. So you had to say page 1 and page 2. People got that. So those are just some of the examples that I found when people do not interconnect. And coming back to this, if the world around you is learning faster and adapting, changing faster, evolving faster than you, then you are moving backwards, not forwards. And I think within education, this is a wake-up call. The next slide, please. Can we go to the next one? Yes? Right, I've already talked about artificial intelligence, the robotics, and this scary thing called technological singularity. You'll find masses on it on Google, but think about how it is impacting your future people coming into university, people going on training courses. Are you teaching them redundant skills that is not adding value in order to pass an exam and tick a box? So what I've done, I've got a couple of examples here on these other few slides if you'd like to move. This is local to me. GCHQ is the government communication headwaters. And certainly what you're talking about was a major upheaval when an article was published locally. This is the actual premises, which is probably about 3 miles away from where I live. Part of my background that I didn't share was that I went from art college into the civil service, can you believe it? But I had to make a living. So what you have there is the director coming out with this message. They're going where the talent is. And they have a reason behind the intelligence agency move to Manchester. They're not shutting this down, but they're opening up a whole new centre in Manchester. Now, do you want to relocate? Is your job still there? How are they going to do that? No, the back one, because I wanted to read at the bottom. No, we shouldn't go backwards. But basically what is saying there on that previous slide was that they are saying, does having 2 letters after your name add any value to when I am an employer? And is your experience going to be fit for purpose? This is a scary one. Again, it's May 2020. We had a target of 50% of people going to university. If university is not providing what is needed and people are deferring their membership, they can't afford £9,000 a year for that fee, if they can't afford the accommodation, they have given a huge boost, and I mean big money, to boost economy through apprenticeship and through additional learning. So those are just some of the things happening on a local basis. So anyway, where are we going next? Is there another slide? Yes, the last one I do want to show you. This is worth an endeavour. I have a contact there who is head of a school looking at the big picture, Education Australia. You've got a website down the bottom there. I believe America is doing a similar trial. And what they're saying is, how do we engage with the talent of an individual? The teachers who engage with me realize that I'm a good mimic. So I'd lost all the building blocks of French. So in order to get my qualification, she concentrated on the spoken French, and that got me through because I couldn't manage all the various verbs in France. So you're looking at where is the interest, where is people's return on their energy, their efforts, and their enthusiasm. So they're putting students at the center of decisions, what and how, but also when they learn. A lot of us now are going to bite-size this or mini that. There's so much competition out there now that often we go for the branded product rather than something that, well, I'm talking about supermarkets, own branded. So that is very interesting research going on now. The aim is to prepare students for opportunities beyond school with the emphasis on relevance and real world learning. Real world is fit for purpose in these changing times. So keep up with it. We need all the experience of the people that we have attending this webinar. They're also looking at increasing different ways of selecting their students. So big times happening. Those are just some of the things to stimulate you to think. And I have now finished my sharing of slides. So thank you, Devinder, for your help and bailing me out on this one. It is appreciated. So who do I come back now to close my session?
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Christine, for a wonderful presentation. But because it is very difficult to deal with stress and frustration in maybe in personal life or maybe professional life. You have rightly said, we have to adapt change at a greater speed than the external change.
Yeah.
See, I am reminded, in strategic management, there's a model called VRIO. Dr. Van Wert knows very well. If we have skills which are very valuable, rare, and non-imitable, and then we are organized. If we are organized to deal, because we may have skill and we may have technology, once we are not organized to exploit them, to use that. So it is up to us how to make best use of the environment, turn into our favor, and get rid of stress and frustration. Lot of takeaways. We have 2 or 3 questions also. Gurvinder ji, can you help with the questions?
Can I just give one last thing? The greatest
Please.
cause of stress is feeling out of control. Even small steps and take back control of your life. You are precious. Humans are precious.
Yes.
And we cannot forfeit that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And
okay.
Special.
Sujata, Dr. Smriti will take the question.
Should I help in that?
Is everybody going to join in the answer, not just me?
How to create allies? How to create allies when individual and institutional ROE are different? Can't go free in global south as you can do in north. Even your physiological needs are not met. This is a question from Mr. Shashi Singh.
Does anyone want to have a think of that one? Remember, I was talking about you have to establish what is the same or similar and cement those. Then you look at what is different and is it genuinely unique to your environment where you are. And for me to be talking about drought when somebody else is talking about floods, we've got 2 totally different experiences. So it's honoring that difference and looking at what solutions or ideas we could actually come up with. So same and similar, family values, wanting to earn enough to keep our family together. People are losing homes here. They're in a dark place. So anyway, over to you. Thank you.
All right, ma'am.
Okay.
There is one, excuse me.
Yes, Sujata ma'am.
Okay, now there's one question. How to keep that fire burning long after the initial aha moment or first date has come and gone? How to keep the fire burning, the enthusiasm?
Okay. May I just give my own take on this one? Motivation is an inner driver. Now, if you don't look after yourself, you cannot help others. So it's really, health for me has been a major problem this last year. And I have had to cope with that. The word to cope means to deal successfully with. It doesn't mean it goes away. So it's coming up with your coping strategies, but please don't ask too much of yourself. We are battered and bruised and tired, and our energy level is low. So nurture yourself. You have got so many ways of taking that space now to do that.
Yes. Interests, such as interests.
Very nice. See, there is one more question in chat, and it is from Mr. C.B. Ramna from Hyderabad. And he says, what are the things you value which you are not going to forfeit even for a profit?
Oh dear, can I just answer this? I think, was it, Tandon, you wanted to say something. I don't know if it's on the last question or this one. Sorry if we missed you participating there. Okay, I was asked recently to do something to help somebody. That was lying. And my core value is what I come back to. My integrity is I had to say no. So just work out what your core values are. My core values is that I would not use my friends and discard them. If you are a friend with Christine Marsh, you are a friend for life. And there may be some people tuning in who I have known 30, 40 years.
Yes.
What I have done, I have picked up a phone where I can and speak to them, definitely connect with people. We need to feed the soul, and we really often need that help. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Banwit has raised his hand. And Dr. Johan.
Oh, was that maybe last question? Okay, how's time going?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah, Christine, very nice presentation. Just as you had used some sort of a P equal to MF, there is a term E is equal to MC squared, where M would be motivation and C would be commitment, and E would be the effectiveness. So E is equal to MC squared, which is from our technological point of view. You gave a nice Newton's law type of P is equal to MF type of a situation. Now, if energy is there and you are putting in effort and you are putting in a lot of enthusiasm, but there is no one to appreciate because the person thinks that all that you are doing is not for the good of the organization, then what do you do?
Well, please remember, we have got a lot of people. When you look at change and you look at a distribution curve, the vast majority do not want to change. They will resist that change. And you have a tipping point, don't you? There's a critical mass which comes in, and you need to work with the people who want to go forward and build it from there. There will be people that drop off the other end of the scale because they won't change. What I'm worried about, a lot of our redundancy now, we're just looking at spreadsheets and we're looking at how much people are being paid and can we share money. The quickest way to get return on investment is to get rid of people, their wages, their salaries, and you get an immediate return. It's very, very short-sighted.
Thank you. Thank you.
So now here we come to an end of the presentation and talk. Now over to Madam.
Right, sir. Thank you so very much, sir. And now I would like to invite Dr. Avinash Chandra Joshi, the Director of ISTD Headquarters, for his concluding remarks.
Ma'am, I think he's got disconnected.
Okay. Dr. Udesh Kohli would like to add on something.
That is not there probably.
Sir is not there, ma'am.
That is not there.
Okay. Dr. Ray, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, one thing, the very wonderful session. All the members of ISTD has been benefited the lesson, whatever you have given, and everybody has learned what is the ROE. So thank you very much, madam. And it's a wonderful session. I have seen many chat box, many comments that the session is very good. And your theory also, Einstein theory, what is you have sent it, that is a very good theory. And thank you very much. And I am over to Anita ji. Very wonderful session, very informative session, very good session. Thank you. Over to Anita ji.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words. And definitely there are certain questions they are asking whether we'll be allowing them the recordings and all. So of course, yes, it will be uploaded on the YouTube channel, YouTube live. So you can go through, but it will take another 48 hours to upload this. Let me be very clear on this. Yeah. So I really thank, there are so many people across the globe join us today. Dr. Johan, you wanted to ask something? If he is there. He's not there. So very chapter participations across India, many chapters. I would like to take the names from Delhi, Vizag, Udaipur, Gurugram, Prayagraj, Visakhapatnam, Baroda, Ahmedabad, and many more chapters if I'm forgetting. So please excuse me for that. Noida chapters, many people joined us today. So thank you, Christine. Today it's really seems very good. A very good friend of mine, when I just requested her once only, and she got agreed for the session. Though we had so many trial Zoom sessions and all, but we could end with a wonderful show today. I'm sure many people are giving us good replies also. So thank you, everyone. Now over to
Anita ji, we have few participants from Bangladesh also. Yeah. So we welcome all foreign participation attendees. Yes, yes. Thank you for your participation and continue for taking part in ISTD webinars. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And rather, I would like to thank all participants from Bangladesh. This is a regular show now. ISTD and Bangladesh is getting connected very well.
We have a lot of members also there. We have
two key post people. This is Dr. Nataraj Ray and Dr. YK Upadhyay. You guys are really working hard for this connections. You have already signed an MOU at Kolkata. I still remember during an Eastern regional meeting. So wonderful alliance is going through with Bangladesh and India ISTD. That's really great. And
I saw Dr. Rajeshwari also.
Yes, Dr. Rajeshwari also, she joined us. I'm really, please forgive me if I'm forgetting certain names. Dr. Rajeshwari has left a remark, comment also, a compliment also, Christine, for you. Like she was remembering the days of ISTD 2013, yes, when we all were together.
We were together in 2015 also at Kuala Lumpur.
Yes, yeah. Yes. So she has given her kind regards to you, Christine. She need to leave at around 7. She had to leave because of her preoccupied next webinar. So Dr. Rajeshwari Narendran has given you personal regards and compliments for this wonderful show. So guys, so it's really time. I'm really thankful, Christine, for you for joining us today. And because of you, there are so many friends of yours across globe. I must say there was a few friends from England are there with us, from Canada, from Singapore, and from Malaysia also we had few friends. So
and
I thank
one Carla, she has read, I think, Gurvinder, can you make her listen? CARLA.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Carla.
So Carla, you can join us. You can join your video and audio also.
Yes.
You have raised your hand now?
Yes, she is now on. Okay, I think she disappeared.
No, she is going to unmute and she can start her video also if she wants.
Already started. Yes. Carla, you can join us.
Yes. Hello.
Yes. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. We are listening to you.
Oh, hello. It's been a very good session. I've really enjoyed it, and Christine is really insightful and a very special lady, and I've learnt a great deal this afternoon, new things from her, and she's a revelation. Very, very good.
Thank you, because she is born in India.
Of course.
Credit goes to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. The program is actually, it is icing on cake by your joining.
That's very good of you.
Thank you.
Carla may.
So now it's over to Dr. Okay.
Just to thank Carla for her support. She has always believed in me. So when that pain is low, she
तो फिर हम नहीं हो ना, ठीक है, फिर छोड़े, हाँ ठीक है, फिर ओके.
Christine, you are mute. Unmute yourself.
Okay. Right. Am I back in business?
Yes.
You asked about when that fire goes out. Mine has flickered sometimes this last year to the point of just retire, take an easy life. Why bother to share this stuff? Who's interested? Carla has never failed me with support, and I thank her from the depth of my heart. Thank you, Carla.
It's lovely. I liked the bit at the end where you said a friend of Christine Marsh is a friend for life. So that is wonderful news.
It's a very strong commitment, I would say.
Very strong.
Yeah.
Okay, fair. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much. So over to Dr. Smriti Bhatnagar.
Yes, ma'am. The best and beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt by heart. Thank you is one such prayer among them. I consider it a great privilege to propose a vote of thanks to all our dignitaries who have witnessed it as a memorable and successful event. I, Dr. Smriti Bhatnagar, on behalf of ISTD Quota Chapter, extend a very hearty vote of thanks to our honorable keynote speaker, Ms. Christine Marsh, who blessed us with enlightening words and took out valuable time from her busy schedule. Then I would like to extend a special thanks to Dr. Kohli, who inspired us. Next, I would like to thank to our President, National President, Dr. Nataraj Ray, for such an immense support. Then I would like to thank Dr. Yogesh Kumar Upadhyay for supporting us, inspiring us. I would like to extend my thanks to Mr. K.M. Tandon, Ms. Anita Chauhan for supporting, for organizing this show. My thanks would be incomplete without thanking Mr. Gurvinder Singh for his technical support. I would like to thank each one of you who participated in this webinar and made this show successful. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. So guys, we are ending now. It's bye for the day. But before that, stay tuned with us on 21st of July. We have another exciting webinar on 21st of July. We are connecting people for art of giving pain. So this will be an initiative from the